Actually, I already handed out the stuff, so we don't have to do that now. I'd like to propose a People's Bill of Rights to be included in the county charter. Many are not happy with their government. The people don't feel heard. They don't feel represented. They don't feel that their government has integrity. And I believe this board's duty is to be the place where people can come and express the type of government that they want that protects their rights and their freedom. American government has been instituted to protect the governed, not the government, not the governing. As our charter stands, there's little to no protections for the people. The charter belongs to the people, not the commissioners and the bureaucrats. The charter review should be here to assist the people of Charlotte County to have the best government possible. If there'd been a Bill of Rights in place, I would have been able to read my proposal, my full proposal, into the record, but I'm restricted by this board to only 3 minutes, and the reading wouldn't be possible. This is one great example showing the need for a People's Bill of Rights. But I would like to list a few of the ideas proposed there in front of you, just into the record. I know some of you have already looked at it, but number one, due process, the right to have and run a private business, medical freedom, an elected legal representative for the people and only for the people, freedom of information, truth in government, transparency in government, a representative form of government, and guaranteed input by we the people, including a reasonable amount of time to speak, the right to clean water, the right to choose our own charities, property rights, parental rights, the right to remove unacceptable government employees, and I don't have that in there, and I have no idea why, but the people's right to protest. That's a big one, and it's being violated in one of our cities as we sit here. I hope you all read this entire Bill of Rights. I've included a page showing a currently used local Bill of Rights, and there's some other groups working in the same direction. This is just to show how this is definitely a legitimate and lawful idea. A Bill of Rights is what the people are entitled to against every government, and what no just government should refuse or rest on inference. Sounds like Thomas Jefferson agrees with my ideas. How about you guys? Please include this Bill of Rights in your discussions, and after you realize how much this could improve our county, how good it would make you look, and how much it could improve the perception of the people, please send it on to the commissioners for their votes. Thank you.
So what is the due date for each of the committees that you want everything or our recommendations to be submitted by? Will that be in the December meeting? Will it be January?
Right now, it's everything slated for the January meeting for that to start happening.
Okay.
And what it is if in your interviews, somebody tells you that, hey, listen, my department would work so much better if this changed. Let's talk about a very controversial subject, okay? Single member district. And you talk to one of the commissioners, the commissioner said that. Well, you can put that in the report, and that would be something that the entire group then would decide.
But can I answer that? No, I have to go back. We have a deadline for when the reports to you.
We'd like to have them in January.
The January meeting is January the 12th. A week before that would be January the 5th. If you wanted to target, not that it's a requirement, but
That's the target.
if you had a target for the committees to submit their reports by January 5th, that would give a week before the meetings for everyone to review.
And then again, going back on that process, will we get all of the recommendations and then kind of vote on it, or how will we handle that?
Typically, what they've done is they've gone through, so just so we keep the timing straight, our March meeting is in Punta Gorda. So we probably don't want to be voting on specific issues before we have that last public meeting in Punta Gorda. So I think we can discuss the issues at the January and February meetings, have the public. The last couple of times we did charter review and we came to the other locations, like we came out to Englewood, we went to Punta Gorda. There were more people from the region that didn't come to Murdoch, and so it was really more of a public hearing where you took input from the citizens and then went back and did the business of the meeting. If nobody shows up, we can't force anyone to show up, then we can do the business. But typically, it's kind of, in the past, it's been like coming out here and going to Punta Gorda with getting more public input, so you really didn't want to try to decide things before you got to those two meetings.
So you're noticing when these meetings are going in the events section of the paper now?
Correct, and that's no offense, but that's kind of the cheaper way to do it, because towards the end here, we're going to pay to have them for those meetings so that people know, and they'll come to those meetings. Traditionally, they have come to those meetings.
So you're going to pay for an ad in the event section for
Right.
that. So I think we need to have more people come to these.
But that thing was within the paper, I think, for 4 or 5 days, and you'd think that there would be one person.
Maybe have we had any, another maybe article by the paper talking about this and how important it is? Is that it? Maybe somebody from the county doing a press release and encouraging an article to be written so that they would know?
I think the people that want the information will look for the information.
Pardon me?
There's emails, it's in the paper, the people that
I know,
are
but
looking
we're
for
not getting the public, so therefore we have to figure out other ways to get them.
the commissioners complain about the same thing, they don't get the public at their meetings.
Pardon me?
And what you're saying now,
No,
Teresa,
I think we have to.
I was on the last charter review, is the exact same things that other members said in the last charter
Did
review.
they?
Exactly, could we be concerned, why are we not getting?
Yeah, well, what happened at the end? Did you get public opinion?
Oh, yeah, we had some people come in, oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
sure did.
I just suggest that we try to get the paper to write an article, something we can
I mean, this is an important.
encourage. I think it's very important. I think one gentleman from the public has expressed that.
But what it's telling us, unfortunately, is you see as in county commission meetings, city council meetings and stuff like that, unless it's a major issue, you don't get them out.
And I think the pandemic's made it worse.
Yeah.
Is there any way that can be expressed, what some of these major issues might be, or we can't do that?
Well, we don't know what they are yet. Yeah,
When, I'm assuming there'll be some kind of presentations made from the committee itself. Do we get, as a committee, a chance to see whatever presentations were made or suggestions that were made in the context of the unchanged portions of the charter? And then are the changes put to ballot in the context of the charter itself or individually? So, I mean, bottom line is, when do we get to see whatever the unchanged things and the changed things have been incorporated?
So the unchanged things are what you have now. What we would have is ballot questions that they're specific. Each question is specific to a certain section of the charter. There are state requirements. The question can only be so many words. The title can only be so many words, so that we have to fit the idea onto the ballot. And but that's once we get all the reports, the committee discusses the reports. I'm making something up, but let's say one committee's report has 5 suggested changes to the charter. Then the entire committee votes on each of those 5. If all 5 of them make it, then I write up charter ballot questions. If one of them makes it, I write up that ballot question.
But when do we see the changes that we agree on in the context of the charter itself?
You don't unless you put it in yourself. It's not written that way.
Yeah, we don't revise the charter like it's been passed before it's passed.
Right.
Because sometimes I could see just from what's been asked that sometimes one section has an impact on another section, but it isn't really designed to be in that. But they kind of, the different sections work together as a charter rather than individual rules, should we say, for lack of a better term.
I have everything that's been presented to us by citizens. It's here. And when we go into that session where we're starting to look at things to maybe take to the public, each one of those suggestions from the public, I'll bring up to all of y'all for a vote, and either up and down vote. And then that way, if somebody can't say that their issue wasn't heard.
Do you have any idea what percentage of people in Charlotte County are still taking the newspaper?
It's very low, I can tell you from where I live. There's 13 houses on the street that I'm on, and I'm the only one that gets the.
I live in Detroit, and I think there's 2 newspapers out of 14 houses. So I'm guessing it might be in the 20%. And
Amazing.
I'm just bringing that up because, yes, we're putting notices in there, but I don't know how actually we're going to get to everybody else. I have an idea that a lot of people are not reading the electronic portion. I didn't even know that they were getting it actually.
You don't have as much paper.
One of the reasons I think we're not getting a lot of participation is that I think generally people are pretty happy with our local government, and if not, they feel they can fix it at the ballot box. They didn't come down here to retire and get involved in controversy, and losing sleep over what's happening in local government. So at least that's what I find with the neighbors. They're happy with the way things are going. They're not expending much effort, but there may be something we can do as far as notices to get the people that are not getting the newspaper.
One of the things I will find out for you, and it's easy enough to do, I'll find out what the circulation is. I don't know. I do know a lot of people now, you used to be able to see the count of papers in the driveway. Well, if you're getting electronically, the papers aren't in the driveway anymore. So, I mean, Andrea, do we do anything up on Facebook or anything? Do we? No, we did not.
Can you?
I don't know. Can we? We do Facebook.
I don't know what the county's policy is on the Facebook page.
We're listed when the county on its Facebook page lists off the upcoming meetings, we're listed there, yes.
I think the key is 2 things. First of all, I don't think there's that many people that are unhappy with the way things are. Secondly, I don't think many people are reading the newspaper and getting that. And I don't know what the answer is to that, but maybe somebody else will.
I think you're absolutely right. Even like, I've used the city of Punta Gorda as an example. When they raised the taxes 18%, everybody went nuts. Locally in different venues, but only 4 people showed up in the budget here. 4 out of 27,000. So that tells you they're not all that upset about it. I think you're right. I think there's not my hair's on fire group out here worried about how the government's run. I think shouting. I think they're pretty happy with the way it's going.
And on your point with the taxes, I think most people are not unhappy with the taxes if they feel that they have been spent wisely. I mean, I always try to teach my kids, no, don't concentrate on saving money, concentrate on spending it wisely. And as long as the money's spent wisely, I'm willing to increase the taxes. Show me where you're going to spend it wisely. I think the county has been doing that.
I think that if you purchased airtime on the local radio station, it would be worthwhile. I can tell you on 1580, you can tell the people that spend on advertising by the amount of times they advertise it, and they are reasonably long advertisements. And I'm talking about something very short and to a point, but a sales pitch, like you're trying to sell the people something, and all they have to do is come and participate. So I think if we were to do that, I don't know how many people listen to the radio station, but I would tell you, based on their advertising, substantially more than the newspaper. Just look at the ads, because they're there every day.
Personally,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Bill, I know the numbers on that. You're way off on that one. AM radio is a dying media. I mean, it just is. Most people don't listen to AM radio. There's a couple of programs on in the morning. When you call up there and say, listen, I want to buy advertising, they'll say, oh yeah, you'll get hundreds of thousands of listeners, but the numbers I'm hearing for AM radio, and just somebody listening to a single show, it's upwards of maybe 100, 150 people, and that's it. Nobody else is listening. I'm sorry, Ron, who listens to AM radio?
I actually advertise on 1580, but we do it because it's the one, and they tell us that, and if you buy an ad, the advertising will probably hit 5,500 people at most. Now, and if you take a poll in this room right now, probably every single one of us, if we ask what station do you listen to, it'll all be something different. We have Sirius now, we have YouTube, you have your own podcast. So it's gotten interesting with marketing, and that's what I've done. But I think people are going to look for the information that they want in the way that they want, and it's very hard for us to figure out what that market is. But if we stay constant to what we have been doing, we hear it all in the election afterwards. I didn't know. People say that all the time. It's very easy to say that, but they don't want to look for the information. You send out the emails, people have the ability to sign up for our county news and what's going on in our community. You have it in the newspaper, which is the only other print that we really have. I think we're doing what we can. But, and it goes back, if you listen to commissioners' meetings, back when the meetings used to be in the evening, we changed it to the daytime because more people wanted to get one in the day and less people show up. And this is a 20-year-old conversation.
And when I switched from newspaper to radio and TV advertising, an interesting thing was that the Arbitron ratings mean nothing. We advertised on a station that had the highest Arbitron ratings and had very little response. And then they tried to raise the price, and so to teach them a lesson, I switched all my ads to another station that had, I think, the lowest Arbitron ratings. We got so much business, I had to shut it off for a couple of months to catch up. And so there's no logic to Arbitron ratings either, as to who listens to what. I don't know what the answer is.
It's interesting, because seriously, and I'm going to talk this to Teresa's question. Rob's sitting here too. He was here obviously for the last charter review. What you're saying now is the exact same thing that board said 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. I mean, it's frustrating because you want the people to come out, but they don't. And the same thing I think holds true with the county commission. Same holds true with the city council. They want the people to come out, and they don't.
I was on the first charter commission, and it was the same problem then. One or two people would show up at the most, and we were having the same discussion. Except back then we had 3 newspapers, and the biggest problem was none of them had 50% of the readership of newspapers, which again only equated to a small percentage of that. So you're right. We had the same discussion the very first charter commission.
Bill, I think this group is unique because any suggestions that go forward can't be stopped by the commission.
Correct.
It's exempt from commission scrutiny. And everyone, bar none, that I've spoken to has no idea the real function and why these are being held. So to advertise, they'll look at it as a commission meeting or anything else that's required by law, whereas this is different. I mean, it starts here, it ends here, and it goes to the voter. It's one of the few things that the voter really has control over, and that's not advertised.
Yeah, I agree. And because you guys have a lot of power, so to speak. I mean, you can send something to the voters, and the commissioners can look at it, and they might not like it, but it's got to go to the voters.
There you go.
Pure and simple.
With no amendments.